So this story is about how to learn how to trust the Lord when you have worries and anxieties. I was finishing up my doctorate in Christian Leadership University, and my dissertation was the book that eventually was called How to Live a Worry-Free Life. And in that book, I teach people how to be able to fix your eyes on Jesus and trust Him, and how to literally not worry. So the Lord decided to give us an object lesson and this miraculous story about Dolce, the cat that disappeared and we later discovered spent 3 days in heaven. And then the Lord returned him to us so we could learn how to trust God and properly hear and agree with Him and pray according to His will related to a scary circumstance, which is what this whole story is all about. So Dolce was first my daughter's cat. He was a stray, and he was known for eating foreign objects. He was very loving, very, very sweet, which is why his name is Dolce, because that's Italian for sweet. But he was also difficult because he kept getting himself in trouble by eating things. When my first granddaughter, Eden, was born, Dolce wound up eating one of her pacifiers, went into the hospital and almost died. And it was an expensive surgery, and Jamel realized that they can't keep this cat safe in their house. So the cat was relegated to the basement for a while until my sister was able to adopt him. And my sister only had Dolce 4 days, and it was just after my mom passed away, and my brother came over to the house while my sister was at work doing something in the garage to try to organize my mom's things, and Dolce got out. So Dolce was gone, and the rest of the story is all about the prayer process and how God specifically directed us to trust Him and how Dolce came back. What I have here are the actual conversations that people received from Jesus, where He gave different people that were part of my Spirit Life circle at the time specific ways to pray, specific images, prophetic pictures of where the cat was. And part of what I want to share is that what I do for a living is actually teach people how to hear and see and feel and sense God so that you can receive this kind of specific direction from God. That is one of the key points from this, and the links below will have the specific instructions about how to connect with me and see the other ways. There are podcast episodes down there so that you can hear. If you're like, wow, I think it's pretty cool that people can hear God give specific direction like that. God died for us to be able to have that access to Him, and people just don't know how to do it. It's super easy, and I will show you how. But the rest of the story here is really specifically what God shared, what God said to different people to guide us through this process of looking for this cat, learning the lessons that we needed to, and how God returned him miraculously. So the first thing that I teach and that people know is that you always begin with God's will and not what your will is. So the first thing I asked was, hey Lord, is Dolce okay, and will we get him back? And the first thing He said is, he is fine, and yes, you will get him back. And then He directed me to go to my sister's house and to help her look for him. We were going to look for him for a while, and He said, don't make her feel bad. This is not anybody's fault. This is what is supposed to happen, what we need to have happen. The next day, I shared the circumstance with the Spirit Life Circle folks, and Sadie, one of our Spirit Life Circle members, received the prophetic promise that Dolce would be returned for 3 days. So this is what the Lord said to her specifically. He said, I was in the grave for 3 days, and Dolce will be with me for 3 days. And then He said 3 is the number of Trinity, And then she saw a picture of him running in a field. Dolce was an all-black cat with just like a little white mark on his neck. And she saw him running in a field, having the time of his life. And then Jesus said to her, "Trust and believe, I will return him on the third day." So that was the promise that we had to anchor, that A, he was fine, and B, he was going to come back in 3 days. Meanwhile, Kathy saw a vision of him playing with other cats. Now, I just want you to know that this is happening in February, and it's snowing outside. There is no fields for cats to be running on. She did not see him in the cold or in the snow. She just saw him playing with other cats. 2 people had the same vision of me holding him, which was another anchoring promise that he was going to come back. And then when I checked back with the Lord again, he said, "Believe and expect, thank and praise me, have faith. You are doing what you need to be doing. You're praying according to my will. You are agreeing with me. I want you to speak life and speak agreement. Do not speak worry. And tell people that I'm a promise-keeping God. And if I promise something, you can take it to the bank." That's what he said. All right, so the next day, I'm thinking the next day is the third day, because we lost him, and then we had Sadie's thing, and then that, for me, it's like, this is 3 days of worry, but it isn't actually the third day yet. It's just the second day. But yet, that day, I was really expecting the cat to come back. And I asked the Lord, what is the condition that we need to agree with to bring Dolce back? And he just said, "Believe with me that he will return on the third day." So I'm thinking, wow, this is exciting. I'm thinking today's the third day. And then we got more pictures of people that were praying. Katie saw him curled up in the arms of an angel, being warmed by the wings of the angel, content, full belly, having the time of his life. Jeanette saw a vision of stones getting tossed into a river or a lake. And Lord told her that the stones represented concerns that we have, that he wants us to toss, surrender, let go of, and trust him, that he will do what he says he's going to do. Cast your cares on the Lord. That was the message of that vision. On the evening of that day, I was concerned because I was like, I think this is the third day. And it was late. It was like 11 o'clock at night, and I was getting kind of sleepless. And I journaled to the Lord, and I said, "Hey, what's happening? Where is he?" And he said to me, "I told Sadie 3 days. Is it the third day yet?" And then I redid the math, and I realized it's the second day. So he said, "Tell everyone to go to sleep. I will return him as promised. Trust Matthew 11:28. Come to me, all of you who are worried and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest." And so we did. We went to bed. On the actual third day, I woke up, and every song I heard on Pandora that day it was just crazy. It was, "The lost will be found, faith will rise as you wait upon the Lord, your grace is enough, in the eye of the storm, I'm still holding on." There was just like, my faith was rising by the excitement of the confirmations that he's giving me through these songs. And I was literally jumping around and shouting for joy and like, I can't wait to see what you're going to do today, God. It's just so cool. This holy expectation of God being who he says he is, being a promise keeper. Now, it's 11:15 p.m. on the third day. And God reminds me of Gideon. Gideon was the story in the Bible where he had to let go of all of his troops, and he only had 300 guys left. And there were 10,000 Midianites coming against him, and he was really worried about it. And the Lord said, "Open your spiritual eyes." And when he opened his spiritual eyes, he could see that there were more angels surrounding them than there were Midianites. And there was other promises too, because he overheard someone going, Gideon's got God on his side and we're going to be in a lot of trouble. And so he knew that God was going to rescue him. And so he reminded me of that story. And then what he said to me is, tell Michelle to open her spiritual eyes. Dolce's there. Dolce's right there. So it was really cool. So Michelle opens the front door and calls out his name. She turns around and she sees him in the back sliding glass door. She sees him there. She runs over to the sliding glass door, which was probably the big mistake. And what happened then is Dolce ran away again. He ran because he was startled by her running to get him. So she's like, oh no, he was here. And he ran away again. So we sought the Lord one more time. We said, okay, we saw him, but he ran away again. And he said, do not chase after him. He will come back on his own. What I'm giving all of you instruction to do is go to sleep trusting that he will be back when I say he's going to be back. He said, keep the sliding glass door open and put a little bit of food near inside the house, just slightly open. It's February, so she's not going to leave the sliding glass door wide open. So she leaves the sliding glass open. She goes to bed. And about an hour later, she woke up to go to the bathroom, and Dolce rubbed up against her legs. He was back. He was back. So God did keep his promise. He did bring him back. And the coolest thing about it was that when we asked the Lord about all the visions, he confirmed for us, he took him to heaven. He was in heaven with the angels in the fields, and he was having a good old time. And I just want to share one thing about pets real quick that I learned from another story when my own cat passed away and I was grieving. And I asked the Lord the question at the time, do animals go to heaven? And the answer to the question is, some do. The ones that are anointed for ministry with the Holy Spirit, you can tell them because there's unconditional love all over them, and you can see that they're in comfort service to you. So in that vision, the Lord actually brought me my cat Tazzy, and he had been healed. I was able to hold him and see him in my special place often. So what I want to encourage you to do, there are links below that will show you how to hear and see and connect with God, connected to my Experience Jesus podcast, because I want you to be able to have miraculous lifestyle stories like this. And the other thing that happened was when Dolce came back, he was absolutely healed of eating foreign objects. He no longer, the rest of his life, he never had another foreign object issue. So not only did he have time in heaven, but he returned healed. And that's really cool. So I hope you like and subscribe and comment and continue watching the videos, and then God showed up. Thanks.